Good evening, everyone. So here we are again in my residence. We are not going to post and park today like I said we would. Something came in at the bike shop that I got very excited for. As you probably know because you clicked on the video, that is the new 2021 TCR. We are going to jump to the bike shop. This is going to be an unboxing video. I have not thrown a leg over the bike at all yet. Stick around to the end because I will weigh it. The TCR, in my opinion, I currently have one. It's right there. It's a rim brake model. It's 5 years old now. It has been my favorite bike that I've ever owned. I've been waiting to get a disc brake bike, and this bike impresses. I will say that. The only thing that doesn't impress too much is the paint. We'll get to the paint job in a little bit, but first let's get to the bike shop. Let's go. Don't sell. All right, everybody, so it is the long-awaited 2021 Giant TCR Advanced Pro in a medium. I will start by saying that I was a little bit underwhelmed with the colorway of this bike, only because this is probably the first bicycle that Giant's put out. Well, I won't say the first because I'm sure there was one before it, but when I saw this online, I was like, holy crap, that looks amazing, looks beautiful. When you see this thing in person though, it's a little bit underwhelming. It doesn't look bad, I am not saying that whatsoever, but on their website, like the color, the front half of the bike is way more prominent. It does look very good in direct sunlight, but as you can see here, it's rather dark. It's not as, the rosewood as they call it, is not as prominent as I would like it to be, honestly. That's the only real big negative I can say whenever I'm getting this thing out of the box. This bike, more than anything, has tons of quality of life improvements. That is the number one thing I can say when unboxing it. Of course, I haven't ridden the thing. We will do a few test rides on it in the future, so if you want to see those, make sure you subscribe, and you can like this video as well. Giant, all the big companies, every time they redesign a road bike, it is lighter, it is stiffer, and it is better. You know, I hate using the word marginal gains, but I feel like at this point, there hasn't been a true revolution other than like 5 years ago when they started heavily putting discs on road bikes. That's the last time. So I'm gonna focus more on when I unboxed this thing. I was very surprised at the quality of life improvements that Giant put out. So the number one thing that I noticed and looked for was the fork having internal cable routing. On the previous generation, it was zip tied to the back of the fork. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm paying, this bike retails at $4,300. The previous generation, you know, they had a bike at that price point. If I'm paying that much for a bicycle, I don't want to have to use zip ties on the fork just to make it look okay. But that's what you had to do. They had these itty bitty tabs on the back of the fork. That's a personal preference thing, I guess. Also, the bike is through axle front and rear, and I really like the little skewer that they gave with you, skewer tool, whatever you want to call it. At first, I thought it was the normal Giant one that you just like pull out and you can actually move it, place it back in. I pulled on it and the whole thing came out, and it is just a tool. So the back one, it doesn't have a lever on it, but this one's got a carbon one. Oh, it's a tool. It fits in your bike kind of snug, so I don't think you're gonna have a problem. I think they designed it to, if you wanted to leave it in one of your through axles, you can. But if you wanted to throw it on your back just for safekeeping, it does pop right out, which is cool. So another really cool thing that Giant added was their power meter. It is a Giant power meter. It is only the left side on this bike, which for probably 90% of us out there, that's all we need for training. It's a rechargeable power meter. I mean, they're putting it on your bike, and I feel like this is almost it's not free, you're paying for this dang bike, but this bike isn't that much more expensive than the previous generation, and you're getting a power meter on it. That's pretty cool. So we have not tested out the Giant power meters. I'd be curious. I use 4i quite a bit. I like that company, and I would like to ride this bike, use their power meter, and see how it stacks up against 4i. I do recall Giant made, maybe it's Wahoo, or there's a power meter company, Stages or something like that, that comes out of a Giant factory. I can't remember which one it is, but I know Giant knows what they're doing with this kind of stuff, or they wouldn't put it on their bike with their name on it. So you are getting full Ultegra at this price point, which is great. You don't have that dumb converter thing that you have on the front of some of their less expensive bicycles. But another thing that I really like about Giant's new bike is the design. I won't say the colorway. This, like I said, this color isn't bad, but it's a little underwhelming from what I saw on the internet. But I do love the new lettering on it. I love the new wheels and the decals that the wheels have. It's subtle. I'm really into like subtle stuff. I don't like, you know, a leopard print bike, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't like big and flashy. So they did redesign the frame. It does have a lot more aerodynamic elements within the bike, as you can tell. So they did forego the entire dropped seat stays that Giant's known for. We'll see how it rides. That's not what this video is about. It's definitely about the unboxing. Bike went together great. One thing that I did notice that I'm very happy about that Giant started doing was greasing the crap out of everything, which is great because I've been very impressed with the Orbeas that I've been having to build, only because the headset is slap full of grease. Through axles are full of grease. This bike's actually got a lot of grease on it. Before, it would be one ride. Someone would take out a brand new bike. They'd have to bring it in. We'd have to put grease in the headset because it was squeaking. And that's a little annoying when you're paying this much for a bicycle. So good job, Giant. So the stem's pretty cool. They do give you some computer mounts for it. It's a little bit different shape. And then they do have the short and stubby saddles coming on this thing. I have tried to ride them before and I don't care for them. That's just me, but I've ridden the same saddle now for 5 years straight. The wheels are tubeless, of course. They come with everything to set them up tubeless. They are tubeless straight out of the box. All we have to do is squirt the stands in, or the Giant version of stands, and then send you on your way. So there you go, guys. That is the unboxing of this beautiful bike. We've actually had it now for over a week. We have been busy just now getting to do this. So I know I said that I had some other videos of Post and Park coming out. I really wanted to jump on this just because this bike is so new, and if you check their website, all it says is coming soon, and I know they're about out of stock of these already. So it is going to, I believe that this is going to be a very popular bike. Without riding it, I already like it a lot better than the previous generation, than the 2020 model. The new redesign, like I said, the number one thing about it is the quality of life improvements that Giant have put out.
Oh yeah, no one's forgotten the out-of-the-box weight.
I bet he would. He'd get, That's about all I can say for it. All right, guys, I will see you all in the next video. Later.